any delay is a setback to prepare you for the greater increase that you're supposed to receive. This suite is deeper than the words that are in it. This billionaire with a real estate portfolio worth 4 billion USD tweeted and said this. His biggest regret among the many was not believing in himself more. And after 12 hours, my greatest defect has been a lack of trust in things working out. Because I didn't trust, I overworked and worried unnecessarily. Such a waste. There was no reason to be fearful, grind, and fret. Everything worked out. Everything I kept my attention and continued to work towards somehow were achieved. Move in the direction of the things you want. Don't quit. And I bet you will achieve everything you want. So, this is Grant Cardone, and if you know a bit of his history, where he came from, how his life is, how his life was, how he moved on, how he has reached where he is, without any judgmental, no matter whether you love him or you don't love him, let's put that aside and now we move into the mindset of men aiming to change and shift too much in this generation, but using the experiences of other men to get the wisdom they need to get. You can identify that this street is deeper than the words that are in it. This man actually had a life he had to pass through, and it was through the experiences that he's trying to give you more light about this. And with this, I want to today show you the the spiritual practicality of it, of how you can get the real assurance of where you're going beyond the normal motivation you've been getting. Yeah, this I'm now talking of the real essence of life and nature, and how you can use that ability to form the life that you want. Okay, when it comes to where we are going, the truth of life is that life itself is creating and paving a way for us to quickly manifest the results we have to manifest. I want to first by giving an example of this. Was my mom. I was having a conversation with her, and for her, she she didn't start having money, but the- she was so poor. But as they built up and eventually got the business, and the business kick-started, and me too, that's how I was produced into the business, and also started functioning in the business. She told me one of the mindsets that she used to have as she would go in the morning to open. And she was like, let me go and open so that I get the customer I have not planned with to come. As in, she had the awareness in Africa, majorly that's how we do it, because we don't do paid advertisement. Paid advertisement is done, but not so much. So for her, she had this mindset that however much I'm opening the shop, customers are going to come, though on the same building, it just the neighbors are also having this almost the same kind of products, but these customers will specifically choose my business, though I haven't planned with them. And the consciousness here that I'm trying to bring you to is that actually this life that we live in, this realm, this earth, this cosmos, uh, its major aim is to make sure that your needs are supplied for, and that as you move forward, everything you will ever need at any particular time, you will be provided for. I want you to see it in this picture of our bodies. For example, you're anxious about the results that you have to achieve. But now, if you could first reflect on how your body functions, you wouldn't be as stressed as you were, just like Grant here was trying to make us understand this principle. In that our body, we have the circulatory system that is in charge of having the blood flow, the oxygenated blood flow into all parts of the body. And we have the respiratory system that is in charge of the breathing in and breathing out, plus the lungs and all that stuff that is in. Then we have the neural system that is in charge of the firing, the thinking, and the cognitive part. Then the excretory system and more. But then one thing that you personally may not have so well observed is that however much you're breathing using your respiratory system, you have never taken time to actually force yourself to breathe. It is an autonomous motion, an autonomous happening that was naturally modified that way, and that it will continue to function whether you're aware consciously or unconsciously. Okay, so it has no, it is not dependent on whether you know it or not. So for it, it is absolute, it has to happen. And this is what I'm trying to deliver to you. And that just like how we have no control over our breathing, how we have no control over how our blood flows, also the success that we are supposed to have, our duty is one. Like he said here, he stated in the tweet that if you move into the direction of the things you want and you do not quit, he bets that you'll have everything you want. This is a natural law, a natural principle that all of us, that has to give us the relief of why we don't have to be so anxious of where we are going and what is actually happening. Okay, if I'm to break this point simpler, I would make it clearer to you by saying that actually the people you need to give you the success that you desire, let's say the employees you want to hire to give you the results that you want, they are already available, they are already provided. All you need to do is to kickstart and move into motion. And as you get into motion, just like how you'd have a magnet that is attached to this moving car, it can only pick these metals that are along the way if the car has kick-started and started to move. But unless this car is moving, then the magnet itself will also keep in that same state, that same spot, that same station in which it is in. So I also charge you to free up your mind. You actually have no reason to be as anxious as you are. You have no right to also be anxious. You are supposed to be anxious about nothing. Why? Because even tomorrow is worrying about your provision. That is a principle of life. Tomorrow, make sure that your results are provided for. Okay, let me give you a quick reflective understanding so that you have this move into your mind so easily. When you moved into your career, those major customers that you actually got, do you realize how intentional God was to make sure that these results come, these people come to you? How intentional your steps were directed to a point that you also had no control over where you are going. But in one or another, maybe the ad campaign you ran had a way it influenced or it was meant, you were meant to run that ad campaign in that same moment because maybe you had other opportunities of running it before and you didn't, or you really tried to run it before and you failed. Yet all these points of failure were preparing you for the right moment when you are actually supposed to produce that ad campaign. Do you understand what I'm saying? In that, even your procrastination is not against you, but it is for you. Even the times you think you're procrastinating, if you could also reflect backwards, some of the moments you are procrastinating were some of the moments when you built the enough velocity to move as fast as you are supposed to. Or those were the moments when you had the best break that you needed. Or beyond that, that is the moments when the best ideas popped into your mind. In that, if you had not procrastinated then something was to be missed out, if I could frame it like that. The mission is whether you're procrastinating, whether you're in challenges, it is okay. You're in this body, and by virtue of this body, there are things you cannot run away from. There are realities of life that you cannot run out of. You cannot run away from, like stress, like anxiety, like procrastination. And those are issues you cannot run out from, you cannot run away from, but you can only increase the threshold, your threshold, beyond what your current is. In that, in those moments, for procrastination to hit you, then it truly, you might have been looking for a certain quality of results that you haven't gotten. So, with that, I believe you kind of have an understanding of this kind of life. Everything is already working for your good. Everything is taking place to make sure that you make it. So, I'm going to give you a bonus for those of you who have made it this far and you would love to get more of examples that I personally have passed through. I think this was like in 2024 when I had this idea of, after producing these courses, okay, specifically the solutions that I have for people like you, especially when it comes to solving stress, anxiety, and depression, so that you can continue moving at the pace you're supposed to. Uh, when I was creating that course, I created it with a mind to make sure that you can only pay for the course after you've consumed the information, in that you do not pay unless you have consumed and gotten satisfied with what information you have received. But the interesting part was that the software I loved the most and I knew how to use, it was providing the service, but the challenge was that however much it would provide the service of hosting courses, it was not providing that option of pay as you want. It wasn't there. A person had to make a subscription before to access the course. So I wanted a software that would do so. And in that time, I believe softwares were there, but I couldn't access them. So I procrastinated on that also. But what it helped me was that, yes, right now, obviously, the course is available. And for every person, they can first attend the course. After attending, then they make the purchase either through as Bitcoin, that is through Binance specifically, or through these MasterCard transactions, PayPal. And yes, at that time made it available with time. But before, it was not possible. And the procrastination that I had in between, I think specifically because of the ignorance that I carried when it comes to that that plane, that place, or that understanding of how I was supposed to integrate the software. The beauty in that place is that of being in that place was that I I didn't carry the language of teaching you the way I'm teaching you. So when I got that challenge, now more time had to be bought to now carry the language that would communicate so effectively to you and give you the solutions that are relevant to you in this time. So I conclude by saying that just like the body is how it functions, just like how your circulatory system functions, just like how your respiratory system functions, just like how life functions, you have no reason to be anxious, to be worried about your tomorrow, because your tomorrow itself is fighting for you. It is making sure that any delay is paid for, or any delay is a setback to prepare you for the greater increase that you're supposed to receive. So stay blessed, stay well. I love you so much. Take care. I believe this has been so important to you. And this is ST-11. Peace. Stay well.